Joe. Nice to meet you, brother. I love watching you grow up.
He's pulling down his pants. Put up your pants, my man.
Touchdown!
Is this the dagger?
Fernando Tatis Jr., a grand slam.
I want
Iguodala. It's funny to hear a female talk about routes. Like,
pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Welcome to From the Backseat, hosted by Clark and Ethan.
it's funny.
Welcome to From the Backseat. I am your host, Ethan, and today I am joined again by my co-host.
How's it going, guys? Clark here, per usual. Just having the All-Star game going on in the background. Can't wait for today's episode.
Nice. And today we are joined by our special guest, again, coming back for the third time, Drew Code Sports.
You'll never get rid of us.
Yeah, we're like that fungus that just doesn't go away.
How are you guys doing?
Pretty good, I think. I mean, just a busy evening for us two guys over here in California. Well, Central California. So how about you guys?
Good. Can't beat Southern California. Can't beat Southern California is always great. So, it's always a good time down here. It's real nice. Got a little breeze coming through the window. So, it's not like 90 degrees up like there is in Central California. So,
Oh, no, 90 degrees would be a cool down. It's currently 98 right now.
okay,
so.
well, there you go. So, 98,
man.
and that sounds even better. I'm so you're making it sound so great. I want to move up there now so I can be a part of that.
You should come up this weekend because it's supposed to be 116. So that'll be
Oh
real
my
good.
God.
I'll leave you to tell me how that goes, and you can just text us how that is. But I think I might pass on that.
I recently went to Vegas and just walking outside at like 11 o'clock in the morning, it was already like 108 or something. It was ridiculous. It was so hot there. I was like, dude, I have never thought I wish I were back in Fresno more than I was when I was there. It was brutal out.
I'm sure it'll be really fun for the Vegas A's to play games there in middle of June in 2025.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great. Hopefully it's wide open, no dome.
Yeah, that actually would be, I'm sure it'll be a dome, but it would be classic. Like, you know what? We're going open roof. We're just going to give everyone a little bit of melanoma when they leave the stadium. That's all it's going to be.
So before we get started, I do want to ask you guys, so with the Oakland A's potential move out of Vegas, do you have like any thoughts on that Oakland is losing all these teams? I know you guys are Raiders fans, but is there like a part where you're like kind of bummed for all these Oakland fans?
Go ahead, Cody. You can kick us off.
I'll say in terms of the fact that there's another team in California that's now moving to Vegas, yeah, it is kind of disappointing because, Oakland doesn't have very much to root for right now. I mean, there was the Raiders, of course, and as everyone knows, they're gone now. The A's are probably like the last, quote unquote, majestic thing that's there for Oakland. And now that they don't have anything. So don't know what they're going to do in terms of like tourism or attracting people there. You still have Golden State, but they're kind of closer more to San Francisco now. So I think that the fact that the Oakland market is losing major league teams, and Drew would have to check me on this. I don't even know if they have a soccer team right now. And it's just kind of sad considering Oakland has a history of having really great teams, great championship runs, and second major sporting team leaving for Vegas. And, I feel bad for anybody that's an A's fan that goes there because their owner sure as heck didn't put any money into that Coliseum. The city of Oakland didn't seem like they wanted to do business with the owner either. So it just seems like a really bad divorce that unfortunately Oakland residents just have to live with. And I think it's sad for California just because two major sport teams now out of the state. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. I mean, I remember watching the Raiders in Oakland. My wife and we actually went to a game, and the atmosphere there was like absolutely crazy. I mean, I was nervous, and I was on the right side. I was rooting for the Raiders. So I can only imagine if you went there and you weren't wearing a Raiders anything. So, it was just a different atmosphere. But then when you look at the Las Vegas Raiders games now, it's just like it's everyone. I mean, everyone's welcome. And it's kind of like, that's not what I grew up with. That's not what I remember the Raiders being. It was always, you're in our house. Now it's like, yeah, come on, spend money, which I get. I understand from an owner's perspective. and people who are trying to make money. I get Vegas is going to attract way more people. You can hire the prices way higher than you would be able to in Oakland. I get it. And it just, that's kind of what it reminds me of with the A's. It's the same situation. They just want more revenue. They want more people to come and support. It's not going to be the same. There's not going to be like some diehard A's. I mean, I'm sure there will be, but I mean, there's not going to be like, this huge following like there used to be, because they're just looking at it from perspective of we just want everyone to come and enjoy a baseball game versus, come root for the A's. So it's a little unfortunate. It sucks, but listen, I get it. It's business. Nothing I say is going to change their minds. So
you never know.
Which is unfortunate.
John Fisher could be hearing you right now.
Yeah. He could be listening.
Is he watching right now?
He's watching right now, listening, and we know that you are, Fisher.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So talking about the Oakland A's. So right now the MLB All-Star game is currently happening. So that means we're at the midpoint of the MLB season. So Clark and I basically had taken off the beginning of the MLB season. Now we're back at the midpoint. So I thought we'd discuss with you guys. I know, Andrew, you do power rankings every single week, but I thought we'd talk about some winners and losers so far of the MLB midseason. And I'll just take the elephant out of the room and say one of the losers, so you guys don't have to, has to be the San Diego Padres.
Yes, I wrote them on there. Yes.
I'm shocked. Wait, you're telling me you wrote the Padres down? I would never have guessed.
All right, Andrew, why don't you take us through your winners?
So I didn't know how many you wanted. So I wrote up to 5, but I can give you like 2 or 1.
Let's go with 2, I think. I think 2 is a good number.
Yeah. The biggest one I wanted to say was with the Baltimore Orioles. I think the Orioles, I didn't see them competing just yet. I felt like they would be probably mid-tier. Now the AL East is actually pretty tough right now. I mean, it's a tough division. But Adley Rutschman, I was a little nervous because this was going to be his first full year. His first, technically, I guess, second year, because I think he was getting votes for Rookie of the Year last year. I was a little nervous because once pitchers figure out after they've seen a guy for a whole year, their second year is when, the sophomore slump comes, and the great players get out of it. And boy, this Adley Rutschman kid, and just watching him in the home run derby yesterday, he looks really good. I mean, he's got a great swing. I mean, something that I wish I could maybe replicate ever. He has just got he's just an amazing talent. I think his defense is probably his biggest issue, but I don't even think it's that big of a deal. So I really like this Orioles team. I think they did a great job of retaining Ryan Mountcastle, who is like one of my favorite players to watch. I think he's so underrated for what he can do. I know Hayes is having a great year. Their starting rotation, I was really worried because it was like Kyle Gibson, who is a shell of what he used to be, and he's been proving me wrong. He's actually having a good year. And I mean, their starting rotation, their bullpen, I was just watching the All-Star game. Cano, he was striking guys out like nothing. So this is a scary team. So Baltimore Orioles are definitely one of my biggest winners. Another biggest winner, I would say, I'm going to throw out the Texas Rangers. Right. I almost want to say the Marlins, but I think the Rangers are a little bit more of a surprise than I think the Marlins. Because if you look at the Marlins roster, you go, okay, I can see how that would work. It's just we look at the Marlins and we're like, well, Miami's going to mess this up somehow. But with the Rangers, I think I had said in the beginning, getting Bruce Bochy, although I loved him as a Giants manager, he's an old school guy in a new school game. And so I was very nervous of how he was going to handle it. We didn't know what we were going to see in Jacob deGrom, and we figured out that he got hurt again. And yet they're still able to overcome his contract. So I'm really very impressed with the Rangers. Bochy literally took what he did in San Francisco and brought it to Texas, where his guys don't swing and miss a lot. He gets a lot of guys who are putting the ball in play. And, something that I grew up with was you put the ball in play, good things happen. And that's what's been happening for the Rangers so far.
I would definitely agree with both of those. I think those are great picks either way. I am a
All
little
right,
bit
Clark,
surprised
you
too
wanna
at how
throw out
well
something
Bochy has kind of turned things around in Texas.
I was so shocked.
Well, I mean, I just thought, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have been shocked. Chris Young did hire him, former Padre, so you have the San Diego connection there in some degree with it, but they put together a really good roster. Obviously, they drafted well with guys like Josh Young being your third baseman. Their signees, Seager and Semien have panned out really well. So they've boosted it up pretty quick. So I'm
Garcia,
yeah,
absolutely raking right now.
I don't think they're going to win the division, but
no, I think the Astros will overtake them eventually.
I think, objects in the mirror may be a little bit closer than they appear right now. And the Rangers would want to get with Houston. So at least in my mind.
Clark, how about you throw out 2 winners?
Okay, so for my winners that I have, this one may be kind of obvious, but I feel like it has to be said. The Atlanta Braves. I think the Atlanta Braves are the juggernaut of the National League. I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is a team that goes back to the World Series now at this point. I think the Dodgers are weaker than they have been in probably the better part of 5 years. I really don't see rotationally a team that really gets the better of them, and certainly not offensive. Offensively, the Atlanta Braves are a godsend. I don't know if I've seen a more efficient, well-oiled machine. Not only just the OPS area and the weighted runs created plus, but these guys 1 through 9 that take great at bats. They constantly slug, hit the ball out, and do the things at the right time when they need to. I mean, they're 60-29 right now. They're basically making a joke out of the rest of the National League East. I know Miami's 9 games back, but they're not catching them. And even more so, Philly's 12 games back. The Mets are probably more than that. They've been everything you could ask for. They have the National League MVP frontrunner in my mind in Ronald Acuna Jr. on the team. So I would say they're one of my winners. Another one I'll go to, and I think this will probably be obvious, is a team leading the National League Central that I don't think a lot of people would have called, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah.
What a year for them. I mean, to have basically every single prospect that you call up, whether it be Spencer Steer or Ellie De La Cruz, come up and just absolutely ball out of their minds is not something that necessarily happens. I know the hype with De La Cruz. I was big on him. This was the guy that I had number 1 in this all baseball with the start of the season. But what they have done, even this includes a team that's like doesn't have much pitching. Like they have like a couple guys. Lodolo's hurt right now. When they get him back, that'll be different.
Yeah,
I don't think they make a lot of noise in the playoffs because I think the rotation will eventually come back and hurt them. Yeah. However, from a successful rebuild standpoint, this is a team that is a year and a half ahead. I would love for them to be buyers at the deadline. I know it's not a big buyer's market, but if they could go out there and acquire an arm, maybe they get a guy like Lucas Giolito, that would be fantastic. The problem is I don't see them doing it. But regardless, if you're a fan of baseball, the Reds being good, I think is kind of a cool thing because they're a long storied franchise, a ton of really exciting players. I just hope that the ownership group there does the right thing and invests in them long term. So that would be my 2 winners in Atlanta and the Reds.
Yeah, good.
Drew, do you have anything to add on? Well, I guess I should ask Cody. Cody, do you have anything to add on?
Oh, mine's going to be super quick. So I agree with Drew that Texas Rangers are essentially a very, a team that was very surprising. Again, old Giants manager Bochy turning the team around. And I think one of the things that's surprising is the pitching, the run differential within the majors, the amount of home runs they're hitting amongst all their batters. I think that's just been the very, exactly what Clark and Drew said. That's been the most surprising. The second team, I will say, I think that's maybe a winner in all this, and maybe it's kind of a dark horse, at least for us, is in the NL West, and that would be the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't know if anyone saw the Diamondbacks being this good. I mean, right now they're a game behind or a half game behind the Dodgers. But I mean, there's a good possibility that the Dodgers can fall off at the last half of the season, and the Diamondbacks look real strong. I mean, they've got some, major pitching improvements. Their hitting is, improved a lot as well. So I think the question is, after the second half of this season, can they continue that? I think obviously is the biggest question, but I would say too, the fact that we've gotten to this point and they're this dangerous amongst a lot of the teams in the majors, I think is a huge win for them just in itself, because, there's probably been a competition between them and the Rockies over the worst team in the NL West. And now the Diamondbacks are almost at the top of the division. So those would be my 2 winners.
Yeah, that's
I
good
respect
addition
the
then,
Arizona
yeah.
one. I respect the
Yeah.
I
wrote the
might think. I
Arizona-
will say I think there could be potentially fraudulent in the second half. I think you might see that. But
Yeah.
That's what
they're
I
a
was going
great
to say.
story
I
right now.
don't think.
First half winner, yes, absolutely. First
Sure.
half winner.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Clark. I don't see them sustaining it. I was literally just talking to my wife about it. I was just saying, like, they're still too young. Like, yeah, they got Evan Longoria. That's like their oldest player. I mean, everyone else is still learning the game. You know, I know Ketel Marte is there, but I'm not as high on him as everyone else. And I think their starting rotation is going to start eating away at them, and their bullpen for that matter.
I think the bullpen's the biggest thing to worry about. And one thing I think is really telling is that they have a worse run differential than both the Giants and Padres at this point in the season.
Yes, they do.
By almost 20 runs to the Padres, too, which is ridiculous. But that says more about the underachieving Padres than maybe the Diamondbacks, but no here nor there.
So that's a good transition, Clark. Let's start off. Andrew, you want to start off with your losers? You want to give us 2 losers?
I can give you 2 losers. Ethan, you don't want to give a winner?
Yeah. Do you have 2?
Oh. No, I mean, you kind of mentioned all the big winning teams. I guess I'll give a shout out to the Miami Marlins.
I was going to say, you're missing one.
Yeah, I guess I'll give a shout out to the Miami Marlins.
Padres bench coach. Give him a little love there. I mean, yeah Miami's been nice.
But more interesting conversation is on the Marlins right now. There's a player that might bat 400.
He won't. He's not going to sniff it. He's not going to sniff that shit. He's not sniffing it.
So I want to throw out the hypothetical that he does, because Clark and I have been talking about this debate. If he actually does bat 400, should he automatically win the MVP?
God, no.
So.
God, no. You can't
I
just give the award because some guy hits 400. We're about to have a season where Acuna goes 40 and 80.
Yeah. There's too much going on that you can't give it to Arise.
So if he does that, to me, that's the equivalent of winning the scoring title in the NBA on the worst basketball team in the league. Like, it's great individual achievement, but it doesn't improve the team because the team is winning overall. And yes, in baseball, there's different factors, but like, I just don't think that you can overlook Acuna, like what you guys were saying, just because a guy has the highest batting average in the league, but is, lower in a lot of other categories. I think that's hard to convince people to say that he's the MVP.
I completely. I mean, there's too many
Hall
other
of
guys.
Famer, yes.
There's way too many other guys at this point that are having way more impactful seasons.
Yeah.
Not way more, but more impactful seasons than Luis Urias just because he hits 400.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but it hasn't
Very
been done
impressive,
since Ted
though.
Williams.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. But I mean,
no player has ever done it since like early 1900s. Like, we're talking about something that hasn't happened in 100 years.
I get Acuna, it's really cool, but there's metrics and values that are far superior to just batting average, and a lot of other guys are doing really well.
Okay, so if they're that important, then why don't other players do it? They haven't done it in 100 years.
I think if you're saying it hasn't been done in years, you can make the argument that if Acuna hits 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases, no one's ever done that. That's history right there.
40-80?
Yeah.
It's a lot of
there's Luis Urias, again, it's so cool. It'd be awesome if Luis Urias at 400. I swear to God, I wouldn't even get in my top 5 MVP consideration.
No way you would not.
I wouldn't even put
him
him top 5. I wouldn't put him top 5.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
he wouldn't live in top 5. I can name
there
you guys.
There's no way.
I can name you 5 guys that can be over right now. Yeah, I could.
What's the 5 then?
That's just disrespectful.
Raul Acuna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll. Juan Soto has a higher WAR than him right now. Fernando Tatis Jr., a better player than him right now. And I'll be honest, I could see someone else in Atlanta like Matt Olson or Sean Murphy. I would give
Matt Olson
over that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still,
maybe
not
Ohtani.
400.
Ohtani.
Well,
okay.
we're talking
about
NL.
batting 400.
I would not Arise. It's a great story. It's awesome. If he hit 400, I'll freaking be like, what a dog. But I'm not giving him the MVP. I'll tell you that much.
That was a joke. Just a hater.
That's not a joke. That's just
because
being
you hate
reasonable.
Miami.
No, I have nothing. No one even
you
cares
hate
about
people
the
from
Marlins.
Miami. We get it.
Nothing.
Not as much as New York. Not as much
for
as New
sure.
York.
I don't. At least if he was in New York, it'd be insufferable.
I can guess. I can guess one of the teams on Clark's list for losers right now. Probably.
I don't have. I didn't put either of those teams actually that you were.
I did.
I'm about to say I tried to think outside of the box with losers.
All right, so just reveal it, Andrew. Let's talk about the New York Mets.
All right, yeah, the Mets, man. You can't go out and spend all that money and then really push hard for Carlos Correa and put that crap out on the field. It is awful.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, like with the team that they have, like Starling Marte, I don't know what happened to him, but he's literally fallen off a cliff. The only thing he's still been good for the Mets is when he does get on base, he can steal the base. But other than that, he has not been as effective as he used to be. Pete Alonso, if he doesn't hit a home run, the Mets are done. Like they have nothing to do with offense.
I've really enjoyed watching Pete Alonso struggle. That's going to sound mean, but I've enjoyed it.
Yes, I have
it.
too, because I don't know, he just doesn't look like
He's
a
cornball.
guy.
He's just corny, man. He's just super corny.
Yeah. Francisco
Did you like his
Lindor.
pitch for Ohtani?
That was terrible. That was the worst pitch I've ever seen. Guy couldn't even convince me to go to a birthday party with him, let alone play alongside him.
Oh man.
That's
All right, continue on. Sorry, I just thought of that.
No,
As we were
good.
talking about how corny. he is.
Scherzer has not been. I mean, Scherzer has been steady. I'm not going to poo-poo on him too much, but he's still not what we saw. Like I think the last time we saw him really dominant was maybe. I want to say last year with the Mets, but he had some struggle. I would say with the last year with the Dodgers, that was the last really great year we saw with Scherzer. Verlander, he kind of looks 40, to be honest. Like he doesn't look.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, his age. He looks his age.
He does. He absolutely does. And last year, he didn't look like he was a guy who was close to retirement. He looked like a guy who was going to be a Cy Young winner for about 3 more years. And now it's just kind of like, ooh, they put a lot of money into him, and he's not producing what they thought he was. This lineup should be doing so much more. Their bullpen kind of has struggled, obviously, with all the money they've spent elsewhere. And, like, I don't know if they can be buyers. Like, to be perfectly honest, like, I don't think they have the money or the assets to trade for someone at the deadline to really significantly change this bullpen. And that is going to be a huge Achilles heel for the Mets. I think they're going to do better this second half, but it could be too late because the Braves are, as you were mentioning earlier, they're outstanding. And then the Marlins are actually playing really well. I'm sorry, the Marlins are no, they're in the East. I'm sorry, I'm right.
Marlins and Phillies are both playing much.
So I just don't know if there's enough time for the Mets to overcome what they've kind of already started to do, and it's really disheartening. I know this is kind of messed up, but I kind of wish we would have seen the Mets with Carlos Correa just to see how bad it truly would be, because I would be dying over here. I would just be absolutely laughing my ass off, watching Carlos Correa struggle and the Mets can't hit either. It would just be fantastic for me. And I just know that that's what you get for trying to spend all that kind of money.
I like it. All
right.
Mets have been an objective failure this year. They've been just truly terrible. So everyone enjoys watching it, though. So I'm good with it.
All right, who's your next loser?
Oh, this one's tough because you stole mine in the very beginning. Padres.
Yeah, you can say the Padres. We can.
No. I mean, we all know the struggles with the Padres. It's. I don't think it's similar to the Mets just because the Padres literally just got this team last year and they were starting to get it back. So I kind of feel like this is their first full year together. So I'm not really putting it in the New York Mets standard, but I do think it is a little disappointing because we were talking about Ohtani possibly going to San Diego, and
that's
now it's like
happening now.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know about Soto. I mean, I think he'll resign because it seems like he likes San Diego.
He's so gone too, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
he's absolutely
it's
gone.
sad, and I kind of liked. I mean, I really wanted to see the dominant force. I mean, not against the Giants, but I'd like to see Fernando Tatis as a baseball fan. Tatis Jr., then Juan Soto. I love Manny Machado. Machado is one of my favorite players to watch. Just in all of baseball, I think he's so underrated for what he does, and it's because he was on the Orioles, and then he goes to the Dodgers, and he leaves the Dodgers, and everyone hates him for leaving, and it's like, oh yeah, let's hate on the guy who wanted more money and whatever. But then he goes to San Diego, and all of a sudden they start winning, and he looks like an MVP candidate last year, and it was like about time that he deserves that praise, that look even. And it's just unfortunate that this team is not better than what they should be. And I really do think that bullpen is very depressed.
Yeah, they have no depth. We have no depth.
Yeah.
It's like watching it's guys like when you don't have Steven Wilson, you don't have Robert Suarez healthy. It's a bunch of dudes. I mean, Tom Grosgrove, he's nasty. But if I have to watch Luis Garcia pitch one more time in a meaningful inning, I will swear to God.
I love seeing that guy. I'm not going to lie to you. When it was the Giants and Padres,
when they brought him in, it was over. That game, I know the game you're talking about. When they brought in Luis Garcia, I was like, great, this game we've lost it now.
That's exactly how I thought. I was like, great, we won.
Like immediately 4-pitch walk. I was like, sweet, this guy has no dog in him. It's so over. It was great while it lasted.
Yeah, and like I don't like their starting rotation as much as I think a lot of people did in the beginning. I don't know what happened with Blake Snell, other than he just got his contract and decided to stop pitching dominant. But he's still striking out guys.
He's great this year. He's great this year.
He's been really good.
He's just I don't know. I still don't look at him the same. I don't get nervous when we have to face him. And maybe it's the bullpen. Maybe that's what he doesn't have the win-loss record that you'd think he would have with the numbers that he ends up getting. But it's been and Joe Musgrove, he's still trying to find his groove. Even though the last two outings he's been pretty good.
But better. I think the rotations, I think just for me as a fan who's watching, I think the bullpen is definitely the issue. And then offensively, just not being able to hit when anyone's on base regularly this season, that's kind of killed us. Little things, but I think otherwise, you're pretty spot on.
And Clark, I did want to say this. On Twitter, you've been really a big defender on Juan Soto, and Juan Soto is one of those guys that I love to watch too. And it's funny because everyone looks at the batting average and they're like, "Oh, I was like, this dude walks like Barry Bonds almost." But he's got this incredible eye. And he just knows how to get, when you need him on base, he gets on base. Mm-hmm. Like Juan Soto is so, just because he came to San Diego, now everyone's like, oh, he's not what he was. And I was like, yeah, because San Diego doesn't need him to hit 300 every time. They just need him on base. Mm-hmm. It's not Juan Soto that is the issue here. No. They're not driving him in or they can't finish games. That's not on Juan Soto.
No, it's never on Juan. It's never been Juan's fault and never be Juan's fault. I'd never blame Juan for anything. I love Juan Soto. I wish he would stay around a little bit longer. I just don't know if that's going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any other losers people want to throw out?
Yeah, I'll throw one out here real quick. For a moment there, I didn't think they would be losers, but then they do what they've always done with the two greatest players on the planet, which is just ruin it. And that's the Angels. They've done it again, folks. They successfully wasted two of the greatest talents of our generation. They were at one point like 6 games above 500. They had a wild card spot, and then Trout breaks his hand, and they've lost 6 or 7 going in. They're under 500. I mean, it's tough because I want them to be good, and I think Angels fans do kind of deserve them to be good. And it's a shame because I think America deserves Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in the playoffs at the same time. The problem is that they're never going to get it. With the Angels are never going to get it. The Angels are an objective failure. They will really. I mean, they've already wasted Mike Trout. They've wasted him at this point. Shohei's gone. He's mentally already a Dodger, which is great. So yeah, the Angels just a disaster on all fronts. I mean, Anthony Rendon's contract is horrible. The starting pitching staff is a joke outside of Ohtani. Hunter Renfroe, kind of a joke in right field. Brandon Drury's hurt. it just seems like they can't get out of their own way. But the Angels have successfully done it again, and for about the 5th straight year, wasted 2 of the greatest players in Major League Baseball history, and will yet again miss the playoffs.
If they don't re-sign Shohei Ohtani, which I doubt they will,
they have no shot.
They need to put that money into redoing that stadium or upgrading it.
Terrible stadium.
Yeah, I went there and not a fan. I did not. The only appeal was walking in, seeing the giant bat, seeing the giant hat. That was so cool. You walk in, you're like, wow, that set me up for failure because this looks just like a normal
it's actually
AAA ballpark.
It's not much nicer in my mind. Well, it is a little bit nicer than the A stadium. It's really kind of old schoolish. People don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Piece of crap. But it resembles the team perfectly. Like, it's nice on the outside, but then you go actually look on the inside and like, this is a piece of shit. So yeah, I think so. I think it's a really good way to look at it.
Any other losers people want to throw out before we move on?
I think it's worth echoing the A's. The fact that they had to have
the
what is it? The anti-boycott.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Into the stadium.
That was
to
fun
show their
though.
hate
I
towards
wish
the
I
owner.
could have gone to that. I would have
Yes,
loved
I
to
mean
go to the
it is really
anti-boycott.
fun, but you've got to be a really bad ran team to have your fans show up to boycott. So well,
I mean, you do, but at the same time, like, again, I get it as an A's fan. If I was like a really diehard, why would I show up? This guy has created everything. Marcus Simeon's gone, Matt Olson's gone. Like, there's been tweets about who they've given up, which is like 6 All-Stars for all these guys have gotten back. It's a joke.
Yeah.
No, they're losers.
I agree. I'm not saying that, that isn't, a good thing that the fans have done that, or wouldn't even be surprised if some of the, bigger name players on their team, whatever they have left, even says something. But just the fact that we've gotten to a point where I don't remember ever seeing that in sports where fans do a reverse boycott by showing up to then yell, sell the team, other than a Knicks game, of course, but that's been happening forever. But you cannot speak losers without talking about the A's. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I want to throw out 2 really quick and then we can move on. I want to throw out the Chicago White Sox, who are about to be sellers, which is
Lucas
crazy.
Giolito announcing his divorce in the middle of the home run derby yesterday was crazy.
Did he really? I did not see that.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, he like sent on Instagram like, "Oh, me and my wife are getting divorced. Please respect our privacy." And I saw that and I was like, "What a wild thing to tweet out in the middle of the home run derby."
That's crazy. Timing, sir. Timing.
My second one I want to throw out is the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah,
that was going to be my second one. Yeah,
I feel like they have to be mentioned in this conversation.
Yeah.
But I want to move on. We're like 30 minutes in.
Oh, sorry.
Good conversation, everyone. No worries. So what we're going to do now is, because of All-Star Weekend, is I had this idea based off a tweet of somebody just tweeted out Eric Hosmer and said anti-home run derby player. So I just thought we'd expand upon that and we'd draft the worst players that would be in a home run derby. So the anti-home run derby.
And we're talking about current players, right?
If you have a former player, I think, well, I guess it's not exactly fair because the game has changed a lot. I don't know, maybe since like 2000. Let's talk about since the steroid era.
Okay.
Of players who just hit the ground, basically hit the ball into the ground repeatedly. I'm going to let Clark draft for us because I'll be managing it. And then the 2 of you will be the Drew Code Sports draft over there.
I imagine Austin Nola is going to be on Clark's list at some point.
I would never do that. So we're talking about guys that just have a high ground ball rate, essentially, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's basically dudes who just hit it straight into the, or strike out a lot. You could do either or.
Minimal power is what I'm hearing. Minimal power, just not a lot of power.
Just not a lot of power.
Yeah, because I would say Joey Gallo because he swings and misses a lot, but when he does make contact, unfortunately goes out. So
yeah, he would be good in a home run derby. We're trying to pick players who would be absolutely awful.
Luis Arise first overall because he never hit home runs.
All right, so they have the first pick, Clark. You don't need to put your personal agenda.
I'm just saying we could do that. Someone could do that. Anyone could do it.
You could.
Anyone,
let's see really. They are on the clock, so we will let them take the first pick. We're each going to take 5. Again, Clark will be drafting for us. The 2 of you can draft for each other. You guys get the first overall pick. Who are you going to take as your anti-home run derby champion?
Drew, you're gonna have to lead this one.
I figured.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go old school because I wrote a couple of guys that I thought of, guys who literally like never hit home runs. Not that they were bad players, they just like never. I mean, their home runs are like not even 10. Juan Pierre. Juan Pierre. I remember him strictly with the Marlins. I think I remember a couple of years where he ended the year with 1 home run and like 40 stolen bases. The dude was fast, but he never hit the ball in the air. I mean, it was never in the air. Maybe line drive for a couple of seconds, but yeah, he never hit the ball in the air. But I used to love watching him because he was so fast. But yeah, I'll go Juan Pierre first.
That's a good one. All right, Clark, where are you going to go with our first
I'm going to go ahead
pick?
and go with the Estuary Ruiz from the Oakland A's. Is one of the highest ground ball rates in baseball.
Dang it, he was on mine too.
Doesn't have a home run, I believe, this season. I think he might have one, but yeah,
I think he has one.
Loves hit the ball on the ground. So I'm going to say, yeah, we'll go with Estuary Ruiz. I mean, what a fantastic pick. Might steal 90 bases this year. That's kind of sick, but no power.
Yeah.
All right, Drew Code, where are you guys going with your second pick?
Okay, I'm gonna go. Speaking of your biggest loser, White Sox, I'm gonna go with Andrew Benintendi. I don't know what happened to his power in Boston. He was hitting home runs left and right, and then he goes to Chicago and he forgot how to hit a home run. He's got 1 home run this year. I know he has some injury history, but good God, man, he never hits a home run anymore. So I'm gonna go Andrew Benintendi.
I like
All right,
that.
Clark, where are you going with our number 2 pick?
DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu's going on the ground ball derby. That guy loves to roll it more over than anyone else practically in the American League. He's right behind Ruiz, I'm pretty sure, ground ball rate. He sucks now, too. He's another guy. I mean, I shouldn't say I don't have a personal vendetta against any of these guys that I'm mentioning, but to watch DJ LeMahieu play terribly and watch Yankees fans just lose their mind over it every week does bring me a small amount of joy. So,
are you sure there's no hidden agenda with that New York hate?
No. I mean, again, my mother's
just
from New
regular
York.
old hate.
I would never hate on New York. I would never do that. It's unbiased.
Never.
It's unbiased journalism, so that's all I'm about. And
I can
at the end of the day, DJ LeMahieu, the numbers support that. So DJ LeMahieu is my second pick.
All right, where are you going with number 3?
All right. I'm gonna go Stephen Kwan from the Guardians.
Classy
This
move.
guy, I see him get base hits all the time, but I was looking at his home run numbers. It's not great. I thought he would hit the ball in the air more. I was working last week and we were watching baseball the whole time, and he finds a way to get on base, but he does not hit the ball in the air. So I'm gonna go Stephen Kwan.
Fantastic selection.
Where are you going, Clark?
Yeah, so we're going to go with Matt Carpenter. Matt Carpenter, we're currently paying him $10 million to essentially do nothing. I could do $10 million. If they wanted to give me $10 million to do what he does, I could do it. He has a really cool mustache. I think we only keep him on the team at this point for aesthetic purposes. I really can't understand how AJ Preller thought giving that decrepit old man $10 million is going to work out very well. One of the highest ground ball rates in the league. He can't play defense. He kind of looks like Don Mattingly again. I'm assuming that's why he's still on the team. That's pretty much all he brings to the table. If I have to watch him, get disgruntled over an 0-2 pitch that is just middle in and so obviously a strike, I'll probably put my, I don't even know what I'll do. I have no idea what I'll do. It's probably going to happen.
You'll move to Fresno. That's what you'll do.
Yeah,
I'll move to Fresno and stand around in the 116-degree heat. That's what I'll do. So yeah, Matt Carpenter.
Oh my
All
God, the Don Mattingly comparison is so spot
It's uncanny, actually. I mean,
it really is.
It's all he has now. It's all. I mean, he doesn't do anything else. I've seen more useless players, but in recent memory, for teams that I've appreciated, he is certainly up there. I mean, Jesus.
The Padres literally looked at a picture of Matt Carpenter like, "Oh my God, we're gonna get Don Mattingly."
Yeah, well, they thought. I mean, he fooled us with his Linsanity run last year in New York. Where
Yeah.
he was like, he retooled his swing. Well, it turns out he didn't. He sucks now again. So who would have thought? We don't play in a Mickey Mouse park in New York.
Really
all the
good
time.
one.
Things change.
I'm gonna go
All right,
with a disappointment I actually from last year, and it's really leaked into this year. Jesse Winker. Winker, I don't know. It was 2 years ago. He was one of those guys that it looked like he was going to be an up and coming star. And last year he was just injured and then couldn't hit. And I was like, okay, well maybe it's the injury. And this year I was kind of keeping an eye on him. And very shortly after, I was like, this guy just sucks now. He is just not good anymore. I mean, he's not even in. I don't think he starts half of the games anymore for the Brewers. I think they're just said, we're going to cut our losses and just have him come off the bench now, which seems like even a worse idea because he comes in the 7th and 8th or 9th inning and just strikes out. So Jesse Winker.
Lovely. Is this our final
There you
pick?
go, number 4. No, you got one more after this. You got
Okay,
2.
cool. So I'm going to go with Charlie Blackmon. I will say this on the record. I hate Charlie Blackmon. He is the bane of my existence. I have never seen a player who is completely incompetent when playing anyone else besides the San Diego Padres. When he shows up in Petco Park or we pull into Coors Field, this guy's just like, oh, I forgot that I was Barry Bonds against the San Diego Padres. So, again, high ground ball rate. I believe he's top 10 in ground ball. I mean, bottom 10 in ground ball rate. Again, I don't like him very much. I think his hair makes him look homeless. That's a tough scene for him over there. But he's made his money. He just grounds the ball out all the time now. So I'll go Charlie Blackmon.
This is your last pick, by the way.
God, that's such a great one. I'm gonna go with Colton Wong.
Okay.
Colton Wong had one really good year. Oh shoot, I don't even remember the team now. He had one good year, and after that, he never hit a home run again. I think he's got one this year. On a Mariners team that I feel like, and in a ballpark that I think would kind of favor him a little bit, and he just does. He doesn't hit the ball in the air. So I'm gonna go Colton Wong.
I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, final pick. I'm going to go with Miles Straw. Miles Straw, he has not hit a home run this year. I believe he's one of the last guys. I only think he's hit one of the last 2 years. Just to read this off right here, his barrel rate average per at-bats is below 1%, so he's completely incapable of driving the ball anywhere. Loves a good bunt, loves a good ground ball. Miles Straw, goated at hitting balls at third base or shortstop.
All right, that concludes our anti-home run derby draft.
That was my favorite segment.
Are there any undrafted free agents that we forgot?
Luis Ariz, I think, is a good one.
We could have put Luis Ariz on. I'm saying we could have.
Christian Vasquez, I put on here as well. I think he's got one home run this year. I thought he was going to be somewhat of a decent catcher, but he did. I mean, he's not even hitting home runs anymore. The only thing they keep him on there for is defense. So
best days are behind him.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna move into our next segment, which is I'm gonna switch things up a little bit. So last week on the show, I quizzed Clark, and I'm gonna quiz all 3 of you on how well you know the NFL all-time receiving list right now. So we are going to do this. So Clark and I did this last week, but with the all-time passers.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys are going to try to figure out the top 10 receivers of all time yards wise.
Okay.
Now you can go.
Why am I included on this?
Yeah, all 3 of you can do it together.
Wait.
So all 3 of you can do it together. You have 3 strikes and you're out. So if you name a person that is not in the top 10, that is 1 strike. So Clark did not win last week. He forgot number 7, which was Matt Ryan. If you guys,
I remember that. That was funny.
Matt Ryan is apparently number 7.
Sorry.
That is surprising.
Yeah, it was surprising to both of us. So we're gonna do it with receiving leaders. So if somebody wants to start us off, you can go in any order. You just got to get the top 10.
Well, I think the leadoff would be Jerry Rice.
Great guess.
That is number 1.
Great guess. I love that.
I think Terrell Owens as well. I think he's number 2.
Number 3.
3. Okay.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss.
Randy Moss is number 4.
Larry Fitzgerald.
Number 2. You have
number
4.
Good one.
Where do you say Randy
And
Moss?
that's it.
No.
You got 6 more. You got 5 through 10.
There's a tight end in there. I'm
There
pretty
is a
sure.
tight end in
I'm pretty
there.
sure Anthony Gonzalez, the tight end, he's in there.
Oh, you mean yeah?
Tony
sorry,
Gonzalez.
wait, it's not
Tony.
I mean, that's
Tony
his full
Gonzalez.
name, but
First name is Anthony.
no
Tony
one calls
Gonzalez.
him Anthony Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it's Tony Gonzalez. My bad.
Tony Gonzalez
I
is
called him
number
by his
6.
government name. I'm sorry,
number
Tony
6?
Gonzalez. All right,
Number
you
6.
get-
I would probably say Reggie Wayne. I don't know if you guys would want me to say that or
I think Reggie Wayne would
agree
be a
with
good guess.
You guys want to lock it in?
I would
Yeah,
lock
why
it
not?
in.
It is number 10.
Ooh, there we go.
Cutting it close. 1, 2,
I'm
3,
trying to
4,
think.
5, 6.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
I would say actually, I would also guess his teammate Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
I
I would
would
say
say yeah.
All right, you guys all said yes. So number 9. Marvin Harrison is number 9.
Wow. I didn't know he was 9.
Which ones are
You
we
want to hear an
missing?
interesting fact? They're only
Yes.
200 yards apart.
Well, it was Peyton
If
for a
I were
long
Reggie
time, there
Wayne,
you
I'd
go.
be like, can I play one more year just so I can get over him?
What are you going to be, a Mr. 3000 over here, Bernie Mac? Just need
you're
3 more
missing-
hits.
Just for those that aren't following along, they are missing number 5, 7, and 8.
I have one. I will guess. He was in the league for a long time. Some great years all the time. Undersized. I would say Steve Smith's in there.
Do you want to?
I don't think so because of the last few years.
He was still productive in Baltimore.
He
I thought he-
was.
I don't know. I feel like he might have been
That's
in
tough.
there.
Let me know if you want to lock it in.
Cody, you said yes, right?
Well, we don't have any strikes, right?
No, we don't have any
No.
You
strike.
don't have any.
Yeah.
How many
we're-
strikes we get? We get 3?
3.
You
Yeah.
get 3.
Okay,
I
I,
would
think
say
that's
so.
a good guess then.
Yeah.
I think that's a
So-
good guess.
Good going with your gut. He is number 8.
Okay. Cool.
Oh,
Steve Smith is
okay.
number
That's
8.
surprising to me. All right.
So
Let's see.
all you
bad.
need now is 5 and 7.
5 and 7.
5 and
Oh
7.
my God, we're missing so many Hall of Famers.
Okay, one of them I think I know. Because I'm trying to
Okay.
think now of like guys that played for big air out offenses in passing eras.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple names written down. I would say, I don't know if this is gonna be right. Isaac Bruce.
Ooh, yeah, I like
Ooh.
that one. He
I
played
think
for
I-
so
Lock it in?
long.
Isaac Bruce. I think Isaac Bruce could be right. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm with you. I think Bruce.
Yeah. I can go
Is
with
this
that.
a lock it in?
Yeah.
Good listening to Clark again. That is your number 5.
Ooh.
Wow,
We need
he's
number 7.
5. I thought he was 7.
He is number 5.
All right.
Alright.
I'm going to say Megatron.
Calvin. You think Calvin?
I don't think so.
I
'cause
I don't know if
only
he played a
10
long
years.
enough time though.
Yeah.
Did Calvin play long enough?
I don't think so.
'Cause he cut it
I don't
so
think he
short
would be
before.
7.
Do you want to lock it? Are you guys locking it in?
Well, do we think that he got more yards than like Reggie Wayne and Steve Smith? And
I don't.
I don't think he
Marvin
did because I don't
Harrison.
think he played a long enough time.
Yeah.
Hmm. I got to look at the teams to kind of size up a player. Hold on.
so do you guys want a hint?
Yes, please.
Um,
go ahead.
So
Sure.
when I looked at the list, this is the only player I did not know.
Like,
And
That would be
they
Calvin
are
Johnson.
a relatively like I wouldn't say modern player. We're not talking about like the 70s, but this is the only player I did not know.
I feel like this is a Packer.
Not Donald Driver. Who was Sterling Sharp? Sterling Sharp had some really good years.
I don't know if he played
did.
long enough too.
I don't
Oh,
know if
you
he
know,
played long enough either.
isn't Shannon Sharp? Didn't
Yeah, but
he
there's
have?
only one. I don't think
There's only
Shannon
one
Sharp was,
tight
like,
end, I think.
Shannon Sharp's like 5th all time among tight ends, so he wouldn't
Mhm.
be high enough on here. I'm trying to think, who are guys? that
And I
played-
don't think Greg Jennings played long enough. Jordy
No.
Nelson.
Julio Jones. No, Julio Jones can't be that high.
No.
No.
I'm just gonna tell you, Julio Jones is 16. Surprisingly, he's pretty high
Wow.
up on the list.
Yeah.
God, man. I know there's someone we're missing so big.
So
I
it
actually-
sounds
okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
well. I was gonna say. So you said it's not someone recently. So like, are we talking like between
80s,
like late
90s?
night? Yeah, are we talking like late 90s to early 2000s? Are we talking like early
Basically
2000s?
all of the 90s. He's basically like he was drafted in the late 80s
Uh-huh.
and then he went out of the league in the early 2000s.
See, I want to say Antonio Freeman, but I think that's not it.
Antonio Freeman was with Tampa Bay for a long time, right?
No, he was with the Packers. He was with Brett
Packers,
Favre for a
oh,
while.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I keep thinking Packers, but I just don't think there's enough
Okay, you want
Packers.
to know one guy for some reason who I'm thinking of right now?
Hmm.
You guys might call me wrong on this. Played a long time with the Raiders.
Oh my God, Tim Brown.
Tim Brown.
That's
Brown?
it.
That would
That's who
make
it is.
sense. Yeah.
Tim Brown.
That's the answer. That is number.
Oh
that
my
is number
God.
7.
I
Clark,
can't-
way to
There
bring
it
it
is.
home,
Hey,
bud.
Tim Brown, baby.
All right, so I'm gonna
Jesus.
challenge you on one more.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if you can figure out number 11.
Number 11.
Number
we
11
couldn't
is
figure
a
out 7.
well. Number 11 is a modern player. They're not in the league
Oh.
currently, but they've
Oh,
been in
okay.
the league the last I think they retired. They might have just been inducted into the Hall of Fame or about to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So within the last 5 years,
Within the
In the
last
last
5 years.
5 years.
because this one really surprised me.
Um,
Yeah, I'm thinking like I don't know. Brandon Marshall wouldn't be Brandon Marshall.
No.
Brandon Marshall is 23.
Okay.
that's surprising too. I'm surprised
Not,
he's
I
top
don't again. It's
25.
not someone who had a long time in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. So he just retired recently.
Just retired.
Oh my God, dude.
Not AJ Green, obviously. He just retired.
Yeah.
Not AJ Green.
Just retired. Man, I would
Johnson?
almost say
Julian Edelman.
no.
Not Julian Edelman. Good guess.
Oh,
Hey Clark,
Andre
what'd you
Johnson.
say?
What about Andre Johnson?
That is the answer.
Oh wow.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's Andre Johnson. Also another one, Anquan Bolden. I guess
Yeah.
I didn't
Oh,
realize
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ball
He's
magnet,
number
man. Ankle was a ball
14.
magnet.
I love
I think
Anquan
14
Bolden.
though.
He never dropped. He never
No.
dropped the ball.
He ran about
Yeah.
a 5.26 40, but he could catch the ball.
His route would
Okay,
take like
so-
14 business days, but he'd sure
He'd get
catch
open.
that ball.
So that concludes. You guys figured out the all-time receiving leaders. Congratulations. You guys can pat yourselves on the back.
I'd like to thank Clark for holding
Yeah.
that one up.
Clark got
No,
like
you guys
8 out of
got it,
11.
dude. You guys gave like half of it more than I did.
No, there was a lot of ones that you suggested that were on the list. So we were just like,
No.
yeah, Clark, that's
We
a
doubted
great
it.
idea.
Team
Yeah.
effort. Team effort.
We doubt it.
That's what I'm saying. It. Team effort.
I think you batted 400 on that one.
Well, put
So-
me get MVP award for me, I guess.
There you go.
So in the news this
Oh,
week,
man.
leading up into the draft, I guess, Ryan Poles, general manager of the Chicago Bears, turns out he's been sleeping in his office and working like 60-hour work
That's the
weeks. or
biggest.
whatever.
No, he
eye-water
hasn't.
hit.
No, he
Well,
is.
I mean, he claims he is. So I thought
No, he's
that we would talk about. We did this last week. Clark and I talked about the state of the Houston Texans. So we're going to talk
Mhm.
about the state of the Chicago Bears because,
Mhm.
unlike the Texans, I more wanted to talk about them because I don't like their move to trade up in this year's draft. The
Hate it.
Chicago Bears have somehow become the most hyped team in the league, and somehow Justin Fields is now a top 10 quarterback out of nowhere.
Mhm.
So I thought we'd really talk about the state of the Bears and what expectations should actually be versus what the media is kind of painting them to be.
Well, can I
So
ask?
would
Can I
anyone
ask
like-
before we get started? What does the media say to you, Ethan? What are you reading from the media?
Well, it just seems like, I guess it's not the media, it's just on I guess honestly, I think it's really hard nowadays because when I go on Twitter, it's so hard to sift through fantasy football people and
Mhm.
actual people who are doing commentary. Because fantasy football people act like the Chicago Bears are the greatest thing to ever hit the planet
Yes.
Earth. So I guess that's really what I'm talking about. But what should expectations for the Chicago Bears actually be?
Moderate at best. I mean, they made some decent moves, I would say, to somewhat improve their offensive line. They did trade for DJ Moore, which I think was a great move. But I mean, this team still has a lot of growing pains. I mean, they won 5 or 6 games last year, I think, and they
Yeah,
I don't know, they're maybe a fringe wild card if everything goes right, I think. I mean, Justin Fields, I don't think there's any question his talent. I think maybe his passing is in question, but I would make the argument that he has almost no weapons, but now you add some pieces and now we can see what he does. And Yeah, they're doing a lot on the defensive side, but I mean, this is typical Bear stuff. They're only known for their defense and really no offense. And I mean, what is the GM sleeping in his office for 60 hours to maybe hope to get 8 games? I mean, that's essentially what their ceiling is, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see how they could be good, but I worry about their offensive line. That's my biggest worry. Justin Fields, first couple of years they want him to run. This year they can't have him run as much if they're going to be successful, because they won a couple of games that they probably shouldn't last year. But like you said, Cody, I mean, maybe 6 wins. I mean, that's still not what you're wanting. That's not what you're looking for when everyone's gushing over DJ Moore and Chase Claypool and Cole Kmet and, all these receivers, and then the running backs. Everyone's talking about Herbert, how he's going to be this up and coming star. And it's like, well, I don't know about that. I think their defense is solid. I'm not worried about their defense. But they keep going after defense. Like, they kind of go after some offensive players a little bit, and then they're kind of like, okay, we're going to go back to defense. And it's like, okay, how about fix this offensive line if you really think that Justin Fields is your dude? And that's kind of why I think this is not going to go well this year, because I think the offensive line is going to be terrible. And I don't think Justin Fields is going to be able to run as much, because they're going to be like, look at all your receivers. You have to throw them the ball. And I think people are going to get fed up with him. I hope it works, because I would like to see him work really well. I think he's got a really good ball that he throws. I think he's uber talented for sure. And I would just I'd like to see the Bears be good again. But I think I'm leaning more towards, I think it's just not going to go right how they think it is, because, like I said, they keep going after defense, and great. They're good at defense, but they're good at, like, building guys up to become these great defenders. So I don't understand why they go in free agency and also spend a ton of money on defense when the thing that you're not good at is offense. So why not go after more guys? It just kind of is mind-boggling to me, and so I'm leaning with I think they're going to be bad.
All right. So it sounds like from the two of you, not a lot of faith in Chicago Bears, maybe not a lot of faith in Justin Fields is what I'm getting from here. Not a lot of faith in the offensive line.
I mean, I think Justin Fields is a really good player. I'm just worried about the team around him. So,
all right. Maybe I'll call myself sound crazy again. I think the expectation should be a playoff spot this year. I think your expectation as a Chicago Bear fan, this is the weakest the division has been in a long time. You have the opportunity. There's no more Aaron Rodgers. You have Jordan Love in Green Bay. I like the Lions, but it's the Detroit Lions as a franchise. I have some doubts overall if they continue to have success, although I think they probably should win that division. However, I don't think their schedule is very hard. And the biggest thing, too, is you have Justin Fields, who in his first 2 years, in my opinion, has shown continuous growth as a former top prospect at a college, who has now shown implements and progress in his game and is getting a true number 1 receiver in DJ Moore. I know the wide receiver core outside of him is not that great with maybe Equimari St. Brown. He's solid. I do like him. The running game will be there. Offensive line, certainly a question mark. But truth be told, in my mind, you look at a team that has not that tough of a schedule, not that great a division anymore. And with the quarterback that I think at this point in year 3, it's kind of a prove it or what's up deal. And I think I buy them more to be better than they will be worse. Again, I think the expectation should be 9 wins. I think if you have 9 wins, you would say it was a good year. I think that's what I would look at it as. There's more than enough in my mind to support being good this year.
Who's rushing the passer on the Bears?
That's
why they're not going to be good.
That's why they're not going to be because they can't rush the passer.
Yeah, again,
that's your argument.
Modern NFL.
That's your argument.
If you don't have any pass rush, you're not going to win games.
I'm just asking. That's the reason they're not going to win any. That they're just going to be 5-win team.
Well, it's not what because even their offense right now is. I mean, it's not going to be a top 10 unit. It's going to be good. It's not going to be great.
They scored quite. This is okay. He's getting.
They don't have a good offensive line.
I'm telling you, if you look at the weapons they have right now, he's in year 2 of a system, which he clearly was better in last year, and the talent with Fields has gotten better, more comfortable. You can't tell me they're not going to be, but this is a team that's putting up a lot of points last year.
3 games. We're talking about a team that won 3 games.
Okay, so what? Like, you act like this is sort of crazy thing. I believe there's sort of stat that the team has gone worst to first every year for like the last decade in the NFL.
Yeah, not from. I mean, yes, there have been teams that have gone from number 1 to then, but again, the Bears are not. They might be good, but you also left out the Vikings in their own division, who are probably the projected winners.
I don't.
Yeah, but you left off the top team in their division.
Okay, I again, the Vikings. I'm not big on the Vikings at all, really, this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they're at least going to take 1 from the Bears.
Okay,
if not
so they
both.
take 1 from the Bears.
Again, the Bears can't rush the passer. There's only so much you can do on defense if
You're
you can't
so
rush the
hung
passer.
up on that. You're so hung up.
It's
on
a
that.
huge part of the game.
It is
So
a huge
Clark,
part of the game.
Pretty
but
important.
If you score more than the other team, who cares?
So Clark, so you're saying that the Bears' expectations are about 9 games in a potential playoff spot? Or are you saying that they can get into the wild
If
card?
we're going to really sit here and think that Justin Fields is your franchise quarterback in year 3 is really where you should take a big leap forward.
Mhm.
Again, this is a receiving core that now has DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, Equimarius St. Brown, Justin Fields at quarterback. Enough
You're
talent in
forgetting
the
Chase
back.
Claypool, by the way.
Chase Clay. Okay, I don't care. But okay, TikTok.
He was kind of a
Lord
no-show,
2.0.
so I guess it's
Yeah, but he is a starter over Equiminius St. Brown.
I honestly
we're
would
talking about
we'll see when the season starts. He's getting more reps. I'll tell you that.
you
much.
know what? They just traded a 2nd-round pick for him.
I
So
don't know.
what? They would totally
Yeah.
jump ship on him if he sucks. He sucked last year.
I don't know. Okay, Clark, I'm gonna read you their defensive.
I'm looking at the roster right now. Okay, you don't need to read it.
and you're telling me their front 4 tells you that they're gonna win 9 games. Do you want me to read off who their starters are right now?
I'm a
Gotta
believer
help
in
you
more
too.
scheme than players.
hit me, Ethan.
Okay.
What is it?
DeMarcus Walker is one of their DNs. Andrew
Oh, he's getting
Billings
12.
is their nose. Oh yeah, is their nose tackle. Justin Jones is their defensive tackle, and their other defensive end is a guy named Travis Gibson, who I've never heard of.
Again, I'm on defense a bigger believer of system than players sometimes.
Yeah, but if you have no talent, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's plenty of systems that have 0 talent that don't work very well.
I'm just saying, look, again, I think maybe this is me. I get the Bengals have Trey Hendrickson. They have Sam Hubbard, but they also, majority of the time, rotate guys like Cam Samplin. You don't even know who Cam Sample is probably half the time. He had like 2 sacks. It's about what you do
but
when you
Trey
put them together.
Hendrickson is probably better combined than all 4 of those players.
That's not the point. You're distracting from my point.
It is the
here.
point. It is
No,
the
it's not.
point.
It's
If
your
you're gonna
point.
bring-
No, it's because you're hung up on this whole thing. It's just because they can't rush the pad. Just because you can't rush the pad, they'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. I have so much confidence in the Bears this year. I'm putting my life savings on the
Ask-
Bears now.
Go
Actually.
look at the Chargers.
Oh my
The
God.
Chargers have Justin Herbert, and they can't stop the run, and they end up missing the playoffs.
Yeah, but
or
stopping the run,
giving up
being able to
28
rush the
point
passer is
leads.
different.
They can't
Maybe
do
the Chargers-
either. I just read you off their defensive line. It doesn't matter who it is. They can't do either.
All I'm saying is I'm still believing in Justin Fields' year 3 breakout. That carries over everything else.
I think we're in agreement that Justin Fields is a great player. I don't think that's the argument. I think the argument is the Bears as a team in the NFC, even in their own division, there's maybe an argument they could potentially win it or not. I don't think the Vikings will lose that much of the leader part of it. And then I know that no one's high on the Lions. They could be a 2nd or 3rd place team, but I just don't see the Bears winning 9 games and being a playoff contender. Maybe wild card, but in the NFC, there's just too many teams that they'd have to get ahead of to make that happen. And that's why I'm like, I would say like they've got a decent team and that they got to figure this out. I don't think that all the new pieces are going to work off the first season. I think Justin Fields will do great in the system, but I just don't know the sum of the parts are enough this year quite yet.
Fair enough. Come back to me when we win 9 games. I'm a Bears fan. I'm a big Bears fan now. Everyone knows that. Huge Bears
Also,
guy.
you keep talking about the scheme. The Bears defense gave up 27 points a game last year.
Cool. Maybe they'll give up a little bit less this year.
And they won 3 games.
And they'll win more games this year than 3.
If you're giving up 28 points, you're expecting Justin Fields every single week to go out and be
They're not giving up
Mahomes.
28 points a game like they did last year. They got some stuff figured out. It's okay. Don't worry
What
about
improvement did they
Chicago.
make besides for Terrell Edmonds?
That was a signing.
It was, but the fact that you just said that was a signing, it's not that was a good signing.
Signing, though. That was a signing. So don't.
He's gonna thrive in Chicago.
He could do well in Chicago.
Yeah, I honestly do. For some reason, any linebacker the Bears ever get always works out for them.
Yeah,
it always works
9
out for
wins.
them.
That's all I know. 9 wins. 9 wins.
I'm not sure about that, but hopefully that would
I'll
be
stamp
interesting.
it. I'll stamp it. I'm not afraid of it.
I love the energy, Clark.
I would like to return to this. I also do not think the Texans are winning 7 games.
All right, just because you're just a total hater, just crazy.
I called all of my hot take teams last year. I pretty much nailed them all. I said the Giants were gonna make the playoffs. I said the Lions. They didn't end up making the playoffs.
Yeah,
they
so you were wrong. That's cool. So you're wrong. So you're 50% so far. You were wrong.
What?
You said they'd make the playoffs. They didn't.
Good
That's
about
wrong.
I don't know.
Sorry,
The Lions were. That was a pretty bold statement.
And they didn't make it. So you were wrong. How does it feel to be wrong?
You just said that the Bears are going to win 9 games.
Crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened.
Like what?
Like the Bengals winning the AFC North after Joe Burrow destroyed every ligament in his knee that in 2020.
Yeah, but at least they have a good roster. The Bears on defense literally have like
Actually, I have the
walking
winning ticket I have from that year. We were projected 6.5 wins. That's less than what the Bears were that season. They won 10.
You're just asking the Bears to win 3 times the amount of games in one season.
That's totally fine. They'll figure. Look, the Bears. All I see is Justin Fields.
Sure.
I see Darnell Mooney. I see DJ Moore. I don't need to hear about the pass rushers. The other.
You better
parts of the
pray that
roster.
Justin Fields doesn't get hurt during the season, because then your 9 games is going up in smoke.
Okay, then if that happens, actually, if that happens, the hot take is just dissipated. It doesn't exist anymore. It gets taken away. That's how it works. I don't know if you guys were aware of that, but your hot takes are null.
Luke Getsy.
If
I don't know who he
terrible
is.
happens.
It's his 2nd season. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right.
Does anyone have any last thoughts before we go today?
I mean, I don't think the Bears are winning 9 games.
All right. You know, that's great. I can't believe that you would sit here and say that in front of a longtime Chicago Bears fan such as myself.
I also would recommend everyone who is who likes to bet the under wins on the Las Vegas Raiders. Bet the under on the Las Vegas Raiders, because we don't even know, even if it's Jimmy. I don't care if Jimmy G is our quarterback. Bet the under. I guarantee it.
Wow. So do you
It's
guys
gonna be
want
bad.
Josh McDaniels fired after this year?
We've been
wanted
calling
him
for that
fired
since
in the
last
middle
year.
of last year.
Yeah.
Wait, was that his first season though?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Awesome. I don't even know why he got another job.
9 wins. Here we go, Raiders. 2nd year. No,
We don't even know if we have a starting quarterback starting next season. So we have.
and he
guys
pissed
on
off
Brady in
Devontae
there.
Adams. So
Yeah,
that's
Tom Brady
always
in there.
good.
So
Yeah, if we can get Tom Brady,
that would be an upgrade. Unfortunately,
I would still say the under. I just don't think this team is
Maybe
ready
trade
for
for
it.
Justin Fields. I heard some people in this area are bullish on him.
he would do great in a dome for sure.
You do phenomenal.
I never
things
said I didn't like Justin Fields.
No, I heard
do
what you
like
said. It's
Justin
cool. I
Fields.
get it. No, I get
I
it. You
just
hate
don't
the
think
Bears.
the
You hate
Bears'
Justin
defense
Fields.
is
No, I
good at
really.
all.
You don't have
I
to
think
keep
it's-
talking. I think everyone heard you very clearly the first time.
I
that
mean,
you
I don't
think-
think Justin Fields is as good as people make him out to be. But
What
I
did
don't.
he do to you? Why are you so mean to him?
Why am I so mean? They literally finished 32nd in passing last year, and he's a
Okay,
quarterback.
because they were running the ball a lot. They were trying to play to his skill set.
They won 3 games.
Sorry about it. Sometimes, I mean, Rome wasn't built in one day. Everyone knows that. Come on now.
Yeah, but the
Ryan
Giants with
Poole's asleep
Daniel
in his
Jones,
office.
man.
It
2 hours
also
a week.
wasn't built in
60 hours
2
a
days either. So.
Right.
That's not how the story goes. But anyway, yeah, Ryan Poole's is sleeping 60 hours in his office every week. That's good. Justin Fields
good.
has weapons. They can't rush the passer. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah. Well, so how about before we go, we'll talk about the last thing I just wanted to check in on, because we didn't talk about it last episode. But what was your guys' reaction to Britney Spears texting Victor Wembanyama at good old Summer League? And then
I mean, that was like the biggest. I feel like, I mean, Victor didn't do anything wrong. It was crazy that their freaking like security guard was like, okay, I'm just gonna backhand someone. That was insane. I don't know. I mean, that's unfortunate for Brittany. I feel bad for Brittany. She didn't deserve that. But for Victor, it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know why they dragged Victor into it. I don't think his press conference did him any justice, other than it makes sense that they told him, hey, just look down, just keep going, don't stop. It makes sense. So I understand why she probably was trying to get his attention. He's walking, and she's like, oh, hey, I'll go up to him. But the security guard to backhand right away was so shocking. I was like,
I mean,
oh my
I
God.
will say this. So, like, what a bizarre crossover of human beings to ever run into.
Yeah.
Britney
I was like,
Spears.
Britney Spears, does she even know Victor Wembanyama?
Well, clearly she knew who Victor Wembanyama
I guess.
was.
I don't.
But
I don't
if
know.
you would have told me that, like, that's who would have been the person, I've been like, that's got to be an article from The Onion. That's not a real headline.
Yeah.
Like, Britney Spears.
I thought it was. I did think it was a joke. I didn't read it into it. And then later I got home and my wife was like, did you hear about Britney Spears and Victor Wembanyama? And I was like, first of all, how do you know who Victor Wembanyama is? And secondly, I thought that was a joke.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, it's real. And Britney fans are going after him. And they were like trolling him after his first summer league game because he absolutely choked in the first game.
I mean, I feel bad for Brittany. That was just a crazy scene to see that happen. No, I mean, just to get punched essentially is like wild. But
in my opinion, when I watch the video, I see no one really around him other than his security detail. And then she's running like a crazy person across to him. Why, we don't know. And
maybe just want to say hi.
Yeah.
I mean, she should know better. She was a young prodigy child that probably had a lot of people around her in a security detail. So I think she should be kind of a little bit more aware that you can't go running up to people with their security and expect good things to happen. Point in case.
Cody, the Britney fans are going to come after you now. Way to go. You just pissed them off.
Does she still have a big contingency of fans?
My God, yes.
She has a cult, yes.
Like, is it the level of like Taylor Swift fans or no?
Oh, no.
I think Taylor Swift dwarfs everyone in that category.
I mean, good for her. Good for Taylor Swift.
She's selling out stadiums like crazy, Taylor.
Yeah.
Right now. Taylor probably is maybe the biggest media person.
One other thing that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, I'm watching the game on my phone as we're recording, and I see Craig Kimbrell closing out the All-Star game, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, he shouldn't be an all-star, but...
No, he should not be at all.
But what are you going to do? I mean, there's probably... I'm surprised they didn't have Hader do it. What the heck? Hader...
Yeah, they had him go in the 8th, which I was like, why? Why would you have him? I don't get it.
Oh, wait, who's managing?
It's the Phillies manager. Yeah,
okay, well, then there you go. That's why.
That's so dumb, though. That's so stupid. That's such a stupid thing to do. Oh, man. This is why I'm not a Phillies fan.
Well, could be worse fanships.
That's true.
Luckily for you, this has been From the Backseat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun listening.
I did.
Why don't you guys go ahead and close us out? Make sure to shout out all your socials where people can find you. Again, we are joined by Drew Code Sports today.
Go ahead, Drew, just like we're closing our episode.
No, I'm not going to go through that whole spiel, but we are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube, all at Drew Code Sports Talk. Please follow us, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Interact with us. We always try and respond back as fast as we can. We always want to hear from you guys, whether you hate us or not. I was getting hate on Rangers and Marlins. So when we talked about them today. So there you go, random guy. Yeah, go follow us. We got some good stuff on the all major podcast. Spotify, Apple Podcast, and iHeart. So,
and this has been From the Backseat. Do all the same stuff that he just said to do. We have all the same things. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day if you're listening to this in the middle of the day. Goodbye, everyone.
Go Bears.